Hi, good people. Just check that everything's in there. Right, so my name is Michael Greenwood. In this video, I'm going to talk you through how to do a sales call. So, I talk about marketing, sales, and service delivery, which are the three pillars of a service business. So, whether you're a social media agency, digital marketing agency, web design company, other type of business, logo designer, whatever, this can help you to sell more, basically. Um, so, right, let's get started. So, this is about you've reached out to a prospect, so maybe you've done a cold call, so you've done your marketing, um, or you could have sent a cold email or done a DM, or maybe you've had an inbound inquiry. So a response to some content you posted, maybe found you on Google and come to your website through there, and you end up on a call with them. So you end up on a Zoom call, Google Meet, Teams, something like that. Or you can do this face to face as well. But I would strongly suggest these days, unless the client is kind of old school and does want a face-to-face meeting, or the prospect, they're not client yet, the prospect, then only do face-to-face meetings sparingly. Protect your time. We've all got the same 24 hours in a day, but it's how you use it. It's the decisions that we make. The decisions that we make are really important. So, number one, always, if the prospect doesn't have the camera on, I will in some way ask them to put the camera on. The way I tend to do it is you can say, "Oh, I'll just pop and get a drink while you're sorting out your camera, or I'll just wait for you while you get your camera on. Are you okay with that?" Kind of thing. So kind of asking them in that kind of way. So next thing is I set the scene, and the way that I set the scene is I make it really clear, and I say it quite politely that we're very selective about who we work with, even if we've outreached to a client and done outbound like a cold call, because we're reaching out because we've got an inkling that we can potentially help somebody, but still we've got to do some discovery to find out if they're a good fit. For example, I'm looking for ambition in my clients where they want to grow and scale, so I can make a better return on investment. So it's very frustrating for me when we're running ads or SEO campaigns. If we have a client who's not looking at growing and they want to kind of switch off the ads when they get too busy, if they don't really have a plan in place to set on more people, that can be very frustrating, especially with SEO as well. Even more so with SEO, trying to stop and start with SEO is a terrible idea. So yeah, I'm setting the scene. I'm saying we can't work with everybody. The purpose of this call is to find out if we might be a good fit. Find out if we can get you results. I only want to work with clients who, we can get results, basically. And I just want to make sure that I can help them out, basically. So, and then what I say, if we then can help you, then I'll make you an offer and come up with a bit of a game plan, and then you can decide, if that's something that you want to go ahead with. But a lot of the clients we're working with them in a specific area, so like it'd be local SEO, local ads, maybe a 5, 10, 18, 20, 25 mile radius, and we're giving them exclusivity. So we've been really super selective. So we really want to get a return on investment. We don't want to end up with a client who wants to stick on a certain retainer amount or whatever. Or if it's a performance marketing, we don't want to, I'm sticking at a certain level and not growing and just kind of getting, sticking within the comfort zone on that. So we're looking for businesses who are looking to grow, and take it to a really high level. So yeah, set the scene. Let them know I'm going to ask them a few questions. So rule number 1 of sales is keep your mouth shut 80% of the time. Ask them questions, let them answer, and then dig further into that answer that they've given. Ask if there's any more detail that they can give on that, and that might prompt them for some more. And use mirroring, which in sales is you're basically repeating and you're digging into that pain point. So the mistake to make, don't make the mistake of asking a question and saying, "Oh, cool," and then asking the next question. Then that you've got to tap into that emotion, that need for actually solving that problem and it being a priority at this time. So one of the first things that I'll do after I've kind of set the scene is I want to get a lay of the land with the company. I want to understand their position in the market, what makes them tick, their why, their personal why they're running the business, and find out what kind of success looks like for them, what their ideal outcome would be, and over what time frame as well, so I can manage the expectations. So I'm looking to establish a gap, but I'm also looking to find out the size of the company. That's really important because we're looking for companies who can afford the service, or companies who've got some solid plan in which to grow. We'll take on some clients who are quite small or startup under the right circumstances. Maybe they've got some good business experience, or they're very open to learning. So I'm talking about if they're a clinic, for example, like an aesthetics clinic, Medispa, then it might be, well, how many patients do you see at the moment? How many bookings have you got? Trying to get an idea of the capacity. What's your current revenue? And then how many people are in your organisation? And also, I'm just double checking that there aren't any other decision makers in case I have made that mistake, which is rare. So I'm looking to get all the decision makers on the call a lot of the time. Sometimes I will just get, for example, if I pretty much know that the husband or wife is going to want to, be part of the decision, then I'll maybe get them on a second call. But I generally try to go for a one sales meeting close a lot of the times, but sometimes it will turn into two. So what I'll do is I'll find the size of the business. So is it just you? How many? If you're the owner, how many practitioners have you got? And I'll also want to find out if they've got some kind of plan, like some kind of way of upselling onto a plan rather than just like one-off treatments. So maybe some monthly plan that the patient might pay. So some way of getting that cash flow, that steady stream of cash flow coming in on the back end, with the lifetime value of the customer. So we're finding out kind of the size of the company, the revenue, asking questions around that. At this point, if a business is not going to give you a revenue, then you're not going to be able to work together. So if they're not looking to have that kind of conversation with you, then that's basically a non-starter. And I would say at this point in in what I do. I never get that. I'd probably say probably never get that, and if I do, then it would be quite a short call, really. So always looking for where they are, where they want to be. If you're not used to asking those kind of questions, then I will get used to it. That's pretty much a non-negotiable in this kind of business. And then I would start to ask about the structure, if they've got reception team and things like that, or if they're just on their own, they're handling the calls. And I'm listening out for anything that might be either signaling like a lack of money or a lack of time, anything that's bothering them, any problems to be solved. One of the first questions is always, why did you decide to respond to this cold email, or why did you come on this call, or why did you kind of, however they raise their hand, that is one of the that's usually the primary motivator for them to want to change what they're doing. So it could be that they've not done marketing before, they want to do marketing. It could be that the word of mouth, it's just not predictable, or it could be a number of things, but they need some kind of change in the business in order to grow and to be an happier business owner, basically. So once we've got past all that stuff about the why they've come on the call, what the the big priority problem is at the moment, I start to then drill down into how kind of mature the business is, and what kind of where they are, and which areas I think they need some supporting. So just to make it clear in terms of the service that I'm offering, it is a lead generation and internet marketing service, digital marketing service, but there are some other benefits as well. So I'm helping them to maybe identify some areas for improvement in the business. It might be like developing processes, thinking about how they upsell, thinking about the sales process, and really it's pretty much end to end. So my job is to make sure that I'm getting them a good ROI, and in doing that, I'm looking for some ways of adding to that. So how many reviews are you getting? What's your review process? What's your referral process? These are all questions that I'll ask, to be able to potentially make them an offer for a game plan. So I'm finding out how much the average order value is, what's the lifetime value of a customer. So some prospects don't know that, but you can help them to go through that. So that's just all the clients and the revenue, since they've begun, and then do that bit of maths, and then you'll find out the average. So all the money they've ever made of revenue divided by number of clients or customers or patients, and then divide it, and then that's the average of what they've spent of all. So it can be something that's difficult to work out, and obviously if they've changed the business as well, that can be a factor. But it's simply that there's they sometimes just don't have the figures in front of them to be able to talk in that kind of way. But it's starting to have that conversation and starting to think in that kind of way about how we get a return on investment. And why is that important? Well, the thing is, because of the way that I price these services, I want to position it as an investment and not a cost, not something that's coming out. I want them to think about the revenue that's coming from it and the gross profit, and not just the money that's coming out as a result of that. So in terms of say if it's a clinic again, I'm talking about how many patients would you want over a certain period. I usually say how many patients you're gaining at the moment, how many bookings, and how many would you like, and things like that. And then what's the patient worth to you in terms of lifetime value and first order, in terms of that as well. Trying to work out if the ads are going to be self-liquidating and then they're going to make money on the back end with a lifetime value. And then I'll open to break down a lot of these questions as well, and then paint a picture of this is your gap, basically. This is where you are, this is where you want to be. When do you want to get there? You might say 12 months or something. What is that going to enable you to do in your life, basically? How is that going to change your current lifestyle? And that's where the emotion comes in with it. So what is the main reason that you're on the call? That's definitely the first question, but setting the scene as well. And then once they've answered that question, starting to talk about, so you mirror them by saying, okay, so you've come on this call because you need to get more patients booked in. So you pretty much want more patients, you want to make more money. Why do you want that? Yeah, well, we're not going on holidays at the moment, and I want to get some time back as well. I'm always, having to nurture all these clients, and I'm also in the clinic as well, and I'm spread too thin. I'd like to get some time back. And then I'm thinking, right, well, we've got a solution that's going to potentially solve that problem with some marketing automation and all that kind of thing that can save them some time. So your job is really to save them time or to make money or both, and I can do both of those things. So you're always thinking how you can solve the problem, but you're mirroring. So you say, okay, so you've come on this call because you want X, Y, Z. Is there anything else? And then you're jogging the memory, and then you're getting them to talk 80% of the time, and you're just kind of prompting them really. But you're controlling the sales call as well. So they might come in and say, I just want to know how much it costs. And you've got to say, well, look, I've got to ask you these questions because it wouldn't be right to even make you an offer at this point because I don't even know if I can help you. A bit like positioning yourself as a doctor with a patient coming in, and if the patient, the equivalent of a prospect saying, oh, how much does it cost, is the equivalent of a patient coming in as those like self-diagnosed. They think that they need some aspirin, but really you've got to take a step back because you've got to examine the problem, just like what a doctor would do. And if you prescribe something, if a doctor prescribes something without diagnosis, that's malpractice. If he just gives out the pill or whatever without even examining them, because the patient has Googled and they've come to some conclusion. It's the same with a prospect coming to me and saying I want a logo, and I say, oh, let's take a step back. Why do you want a logo? Right, I think you need a rebrand as well, and you're going to need another website. You're going to need a website as well, potentially. So, in terms of, you dig back a little bit as well. What I tend to do is, because it's marketing and lead generation, I'm finding out why they're in that position. So what are they doing now? What have they done in the past? What worked? What didn't work? Have you worked with an agency before? What have you tried before? Try to get the perception about the platform as well. So maybe they've had a bad experience with Facebook ads, Google ads, or whatever. So sometimes it's about kind of ripping some of that away, taking a step back and saying, look, why? Because you've had a bad experience with Google ads because the agency wasn't a good fit, because maybe they weren't experienced in what you do in your business type. Maybe they didn't know how to run these type of ads because they didn't understand the compliance. That's why you got those compliance issues and things like that. That doesn't mean that Facebook's bad. It means that, look, that's what happened at the time. There were an experienced agency involved. So that's the way that I'd approach that. And you start to find out what their experience is in what's worked and what hasn't worked, what they've already tried, and what's been the biggest kind of problem with who they've worked with before as well. They didn't respond. they didn't send reports like they said they were going to do. They didn't promise what they were going to do. They didn't do what they said they were going to do, and all that kind of thing. And you try to find out why it didn't work as well, and see it from their point of view, empathise with them. But in terms of talking about the example, in terms of like a clinic owner, you're looking at number of bookings, you're looking at number of appointments who have actually showed up, the conversions to some kind of regular plan as well, like a monthly plan to help the cash flow, and to also help the patient to manage the money coming out as well, so they're not coming for a treatment then paying like what seems to be a bigger amount coming out. And then also it's good. It's good to know, if they're working with an agency at the moment or talking to other agencies and things like that. Finding out, what you're looking at the problem that they think that they want to be solved, but you're also taking a step back and peeling back the layers about why they think that's the solution, because they might have spoken to other agencies and I spoke to somebody earlier, basically, before I did this video, before I started recording this video, on the phone. She's a clinic owner, and she'd been speaking to a couple of agencies before that call, before my call with her, and one of them, they were trying to steer her just to SEO, which we do SEO as well, and they weren't experienced in running Facebook ads, and that's the conclusion that she came to, because she said, she said that they said we can't run this because of this and this. It just meant they're inexperienced in doing it, so they're trying to steer her towards the thing that they do. And obviously it's good, you've got to be impartial, you've got to be ethical in these things, and you've got to actually, if you can't help them, you can't take the money, you can't make them an offer. So that's the framing of this method of doing a call. It's a very ethical way of doing things, because you're only working with people you can get results for. Sometimes you will drop on a client who kind of talks the talk, but when it comes to it later on, it can sour in the relationship. But you get better and better at noticing the red flags. I've had a few clients who've been stinkers in the past, and you start to spot the kind of character traits and that kind of stuff. So yeah, the other thing that I like to do is start to bring in kind of the social proof as well, and the evidence of what you can do as well. So also things like, so just drawing an example where I've just fresh in my mind this call I've just had. So, for example, if it's like a Botox clinic, you get some practitioners who've done just like a bit of training, and then they kind of let loose with a needle and all that kind of thing. But then you've got some where the doctors, nurses who've done that role, and then they've got years experience, and then they've gone into aesthetics, and you can guess who I think has got the more credibility. Somebody who's done a few weeks training, or somebody who's got years and years of experience. So what I can do is, I just had a call just now, and their practitioner speaking to the owner, but she's not the one who does the treatments, but she's got a practitioner who's a doctor, so obviously the gravitas of being a doctor. And I said, you sound like our one of our other clients who's, they're a doctor as well, and they had a similar issue, and this is what we did for them, and they had this result and things like that. So you start to paint that picture that it'd be more of a turnkey solution that's worked in another location with same kind of treatment, and so there's a lot fewer variables. You've already done it before, and there's a lot of value in that. And then you can start to kind of identify, some bottlenecks in things as well, in terms of, you can start to look for some quick wins and stuff like that. And then the thing is, in terms of doing the presentation thing or not, I tend to if there's going to be a presentation, it's a little presentation and it's more near the end. I'm mostly there asking questions and building rapport, and actually understanding their point of view to see if I can actually help them. Like, genuinely just thinking, what is it going to be like to work with this client? Because I've worked with so many clients, I'm thinking, right, I'm imagining what it's going to be like to have meetings with this client. Are we going to be able to work together? Are they going to take the advice and all that kind of thing? And also positioning yourself as the expert and speaking with conviction is really important as well. So actually giving them some value on the call. And what I usually say as well is, when I'm setting up the meeting, I'm on the cold call, for example, doing the marketing bit. I'll say, look, or recording a loom to send out to a call prospect. I'll be jump on a call. I'll send you a bit of a pre-qualification questionnaire and all that kind of thing, just to get some info so we can make the best use of the time. But at the very least, you'll probably come away with some free advice that you can even implement yourself. So it's good. You got to position yourself as an expert and speak with conviction. And then in terms of once you've how do you know if to make an offer? You've just got to find similarities in this prospect with clients who you've worked with and got results for in the past. So I'll ask them questions, like specific questions, like, look, we did a lot of video for this other client and they were very similar to your business at your stage, turning over a similar amount in a similarly affluent area. Are you open to being in front of camera, or does that just completely scare you up? And they might say, yeah, oh no, I'll be fine in front of camera, or I've got these, we've got 3 practitioners, they'll all love to be in front of camera. They're already doing it. Look on our Instagram. And it's nice when they start to kind of sell themselves, on the idea of becoming your client and saying, look, yeah, we've done it. They'll start to, we've got some on Instagram. Can we use something like that? And start to actually talk about, as you assume the sale, and you're speaking as if, they're going to go ahead, and you've got that mindset and that belief, and you're starting to project that reality, you're starting to manifest that. You can start to talk about the campaign. You can use words like, look, hypothetically, if you were going to, go ahead, and if I can make you an offer, would you? How many videos do you think you could send us? A week, for example. Well, how many are you doing now? Oh, you're doing it for you. Oh, I'm sure you'll be able to manage that then. So there's things like that. So yeah, you can do a little presentation once you're ready to kind of, go into your close. And that's kind of one of the mistakes that I see as well, people not actually going for the close on the call. And what I say is, you've got to, if you can make them an offer, then make them an offer and then listen out for the first objection. So how do I make them an offer then? So in terms of making an offer, so it's about the positioning. So I would reiterate, because you've asked them the questions about, well, you worked with this agency, they didn't get results, and you're thinking, right, that's one of the objections then. It's because they're going to have reservations about working with agency because they think they're not going to get results, or they work with an agency that didn't get the communication they wanted, or they work with an agency and they promised them to do the SEO and they're going to get, first page of Google within 2 weeks. So that's managing the expectations, and they now know that that was a lie, or like your snake oil salesperson tactics, because it didn't happen. So that's where honesty and integrity comes in. So you can start to kind of line up what your objections are going to be. Now, a lot of people get this wrong with the pitch. There's a few ways of getting this wrong, actually, when you tell them what the offer is. The other thing that I do in terms of pre-closing is say, hypothetically, if I can make you an offer, and this is usually quite early on as well, before I've asked them all the questions, and it sounded good, when would you like to go ahead? Now, I've had it where they said, well, we'd like to go ahead in 2 months. And there's a few ways of dealing with that. You really got to find out why they've got to go ahead in 2 months. Is that just an objection? Is that just a procrastination? Because 2 months comes and goes, and then it becomes another 2 months. So you really don't want to be making an offer unless they're going to sign up, pretty much, pretty quickly. And you can say, that day, and hold it from that day, and use genuine scarcity, because I'm assuming if you're doing outbound to an area, and you're doing things like local SEO or Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever, for local businesses, you're going to be, you put your script together, you've put your emails together, you've put your marketing assets together, you've maybe put your landing page together for solving a certain set of problems for a certain niche. So I'm assuming you're going to be reaching out to more than that business. So it works really well to make them aware of that. So what I will do is find out from them who a few of the competitors are, who they're looking to compete against, essentially. And a lot of it is not just money. They want to help more people, genuinely want to help more people, and obviously compensation for helping people and adding value is money. Also, the status of it as well, the status of being a business owner and doing well as a business, that they want that as well. A lot of people want status. A lot of people buy a watch because it gives them that status, it gives them that feeling. The people buy based on emotion, and then they justify it with logic. So you could buy a Ford car, or you could buy a Ferrari, but one of them gives you a status, the other one doesn't really. So, but they both get you from A to B. They're both comfortable enough. They're both pretty safe. These days the standards of safety, they're through the roof, aren't they? So people buy those things because they make them feel good. They give them a status. They give them a buzz. So yeah, when I'm coming into the close, then I'm basically saying, I'm reminding them. So you've tried this in the past. You worked with this agency, that didn't work out so well. So I've got to speak with conviction and convince them that this is going to be different. So how do you do that, Michael? Well, how do you convince them that you're going to get results? Well, if you work with a business like them but in another area, then you can show them results with video testimonials, with your case studies, showing what happened, and get, your existing clients to give you video case studies. So that's one thing that you can do. You can also give them, some kind of risk reversal. So some kind of offer, and some kind of minimum guarantee based on what you believe you can get them. So if you know that this clinic was paying you £1,000 a month, and you were getting them 5-10x or whatever ROI, then you can basically work out, from the questions that you'd ask them early on, how many patients they need, what's the value of that patients, in terms of the initial order, how many go on to, do some kind of plan with you, what's the lifetime value as well. And you can work out based on what the ad spend's been in the past, and how much efforts it's been, and you've got that experience to be able to work out kind of like a minimum guarantee that you could likely get them. And you're not going to be able to give them like an absolute guarantee of we're going to get you exactly this revenue and everything like that, or this position, or whatever it is. But you can give them like an idea. You can give them a threshold. So you can say, well, okay, so Facebook ads, they usually come in at X amount. That's the ROAS on that. This is what you're going to be spending. Right, you're right. Okay. So I'd expect at least 5 bookings for that. I'd be absolutely shocked if there weren't 5 bookings. And actually, if we don't get you 5 bookings and we're a few, every month, or 10 or 20 or whatever it is, then I'd be happy just to call it a day and, let you come out of the 6-12 months agreement or whatever, or 4 months agreement, whatever you sign them up to. So you can do that. So you can give them some risk reversal. You can do performance marketing as well. So you can charge them like some kind of upfront setup fee, and then some kind of ROAS deal. So whatever extra revenue they get minus the ad spend, you can take a cut of that. You can kind of give them some protection on what they're already making. Say they're making £2,000 a month, you're going to get them to 10. That's an £8,000 difference. It's going to cost a few grand or £1,000 or whatever, to get that in, or 500 or whatever you can do on that. So then you're going to take, the 500 or £1,000 off it, end up with 7.5, £8,000. End up with it'd be 6.5, 7 or whatever, and then you take a percentage of that, however, after your setup fee. You want a setup fee to cover your costs, setting up all your systems and stuff like that, and installing that in the business. You don't want to leave yourself short, and you want to at least cover your costs on that. But there's a few ways of doing it: performance, monthly retainer, bit of a mixture, depending on the deal, depending on where they are and all that kind of thing, and depending on your business model. But yeah, in terms of diagnosing the problem, giving them the solution, I would then make them the offer, and then I would zip it. So you say, right, based on what you've told me, I'm very confident that we can help you because we've helped this client. They sound very similar to you, just in a different area. No reason why it shouldn't work for you as well. We can implement this turnkey solution, help you with this, this and this, help you with business development, help you with the lead generation. This is what's going to happen. Does that sound fair? And then just keep your mouth shut. Don't at that point say, does that sound fair? And then say, oh, I'm going to start this, I'm going to do this. There's going to be all those kind of things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying start to then justify your pricing or anything like that. Just tell them what you're going to do for them, what the game plan is. Keep it very benefits orientated, as in, talking about the dream outcome rather than, all the nitty gritty, because they don't need to know that kind of thing. And also they need to respect your The fact that you can do the thing, which is reflected in your case studies, and then wait for the first objection. Now, where a lot of people fall over is at the first objection. They just end the call. So the prospect says something like, "Oh, interesting. Well, I'll have a think about it. I always think about things overnight. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, I always think about things." And that's an objection. So the sale starts at the first objection. So you can overcome that objection. For example, what I usually say is, because they're not going to think about it, you can say, "Oh, yeah, I completely understand." So you empathise with them. You're not dismissive. I completely understand. What is it in particular that you'd like to think about? And you throw it back to them, and they say, "Well, yeah, I just need to speak to my partner." And then you start to actually uncover what the real objections are, and then you can say, "Well, okay, so is there? Are you happy with the deal? Is this just a form? Is this just a courtesy to speak to your partner?" And if they say yes, that means that they're bought in. And then you can go on and say, "Well, is there anything that your partner could say that would stop you from going ahead with this?" And if they say no, then it's like, "Well, let's go ahead then." Do you want to pay by Stripe, or do you want to set up a go cardless? And you get a deposit on the call. Get a deposit on the call. And then if another objection I get a lot is, "Well, I'd like to see it in writing." And I usually say, because I record the calls, "Well, we've got this recording, and usually what I put in writing is exactly what we're going to discuss now. So are you happy with what we've said? Are you happy to go ahead?" Because I'm only going to put it in writing. If you're going ahead, it's just a formality to then get in writing, and then that kind of overcomes that objection. That's a good rebuttal, I find. That works for me. You might have some other rebuttals to that, but this is just what works for me. And then what you might get as well is, "Oh, that's not what I expected in terms of the pricing." And then what you can do is you can say, "Well, we worked out that you wanted you can handle 30 new bookings per week, yeah, and that's £6,700 and odd pounds, or something like that. In fact, what is that? This is one that I've had. So 30 times, I think this was about 225 treatment, 6,750 a week. Yeah. So what I said to this objection is, so price is too high. Okay. But you want to make you aspire to make £6,750 a week. It's about 27 grand, about 27, over 27 grand a month. I know there's more than four weeks in a month, but you want to just pay. How much did you think it was going to be? Oh, I thought it was going to be £700 a year. Right. So, do you think that £700 a year is a reasonably sized solution to throw at a 27 grand a month problem? And it's like, oh, right, light bulb moment kind of thing. So it's all about perspective, really. In terms of objections. And then another one that's quite useful to use is when they bring up price, you can say, "Well, hypothetically, if this service was free, which it's not, then would you be happy with us creating you a new website, doing your SEO, running your ads, helping you with nurturing your leads, booking your appointments in, editing your videos, whatever we've offered them, yeah, doing your retargeting, yeah, helping you with your upselling, training and all that kind of thing. And I said, yeah, anybody would. I said, well, let's imagine that it is free. And take price out of it. Is there anything else that you'd change about the deal? No, I love that. So it's just price. Yeah. And then I just bring them back to that 27 grand. And I mean, with that one, I don't think there's any recovery with that £700. I did have that one genuinely. They wanted to make, it weren't 27 grand, but they wanted to make something like 10 grand a month from 700 quid a year. So they wanted to invest 700 to get 120 grand or something like that. Anyway, it was just whatever ROAS that is. I don't know. That was just a lot. So so that were the expectations, and that they didn't get that deal, and they're probably still, trying to get deals like that or whatever. But anyway, so it's got to frame the size of the solution, and if it's a reasonable enough investment to get that ROI basically to fill the gap. And then there's lots of other objections, and then basically every time you loop through an objection, so you're giving them the price, then you can go back in for the close. So yeah, it's as simple as that, really. It's simple as that. So every time, so for example, if we were closing that one, and you're doing it until there's no other objections really, and then you're asking for the close yet again. So you're saying, is there anything that your partner could say that would, make you not want to go ahead with this? And he said no. I said, okay, let's go ahead. Do you want to pay by Stripe, or give me A or B? Do you want to pay by Stripe or go cardless? I use Tech Stripe. That okay with you? You got your credit card? I'll just load it up. I'll just wait until you made that payment, just so I can confirm it against your account. I'll put everything we said in writing. Send you something to electronically sign. Just you need to sign it, yeah, okay. And this is what we're going to do. We'll book your onboarding call. If you can't close them on that call, set up a second call with the partner and them, or any other decision makers you've missed out. But obviously, one of the rules of sales is to make sure that all the decision makers are on there. Sometimes, as much as people say that, sometimes it's not always possible to get everybody on there. But you can, as you build up your marketing assets and have more case studies and all that kind of thing online, is protect your time more on these calls, by really making sure that they've done some micro commitments, like filling out a questionnaire or watching a video and all that kind of thing. A bit of psychology stuff in it, really, persuasion and stuff like that. Getting micro commitments throughout the call as well. So does that sound fair? Yeah. So they're not saying, so you can set that throughout. We'll do this, and this. Well, that's how it usually works. We've got this ROI from these other clients. They were similar to you. If I were to make you a reasonable offer and do this and this for you, hypothetically, would you be happy with almost like handing us £10 and then getting 80 or 100 back? Does that sound fair? If we take some kind of cut like that, what you're making, would you begrudge us getting a slice like that. If we're going to make you 27 grand, would you begrudge us getting like 2,700, or would you need us to just be? Would you be kind of morally comfortable with just getting 70 to get us 27? Extreme example, ridiculous example, but you get my point, don't you? On that, does that sound fair? Yeah. Micro commitment that you're getting. So then to wrap it up, once they've gone ahead, you're going to end that call either as if you end that call and you haven't overcome the objections, then you've got a confused buyer, and a confused buyer is never going to buy. The other thing is, if you end that call and you're not setting up another call, you just haven't. They either can't afford it, so you've got like a badly qualified prospect on the call in the first place who can only spend like £700, or somebody who. One of the things I do notice is when you're speaking to somebody who's got money, their time is really precious to them, and they'll be cash rich and time poor. So they'll get on a call, and then they'll do the deal quickly, and they've done the due diligence. They're used to doing due diligence, and they won't buy from you if they've got good instincts, they've got good experience, and they know a good deal, and they can smell if something's off and stuff like that. So when you've got somebody who's time rich and cash poor, they'll be jumping on calls with marketing companies and getting information and trying to DIY it and do it themselves, and trying to figure out like price shopping and stuff like that, trying to figure out maybe even how much things cost. And what things cost will be really important, because they won't have much money, and they'll be thinking maybe as an employee as well. So there might be a startup business owner, but have like an employee's mindset of, oh right, well if I pay him all that money, then right, that's coming straight out of my pocket, and right, what if it doesn't work? And actually, even when you show them the results that you've got with other businesses, it's actually a lack of belief that they'll do the thing. So if you get them the leads, it's actually a lack of belief that they'll do a good job. So it's lack of self-belief a lot of the time is what I find, where they don't actually think that the thing will work. They don't believe in the business idea. What I think is, if somebody can't invest in their own business idea, then I certainly can't invest in it, because I'm looking for cultivating long-term business relationships where I can start them at a certain price, and then as we grow, we can grow with the business. So I want to get a good ROI. I want them to make money, and that's what it's all about. So occasionally there'll be a business owner, and they'll have a really good mindset, but they'll be kind of undercapitalized, and they'll want to start on a lower budget to test it. And I'll always kind of examine their motives and see if they're genuinely looking to grow something reasonably sized. If they just want to have a bit more than a job in the business, then that's not usually going to work out for me. I mean, one of my most recent really successful clients who I helped, who started helping last year, really doing well, growing and growing and growing, budgets going up and up, retainers going up, which is really good. He said, Michael, I want to get to £1 million a year, and I said, I'm going to help you to do that. The start of a beautiful business relationship, and fantastic results that we're getting. So just to wrap this up then, if you come off the call and there are any other objections that you've not answered, that is a bad thing. If they want to speak to any clients, show them video testimonials, show them, send them links, show them on the call. That can be part of your little presentation or whatever, but don't do a death by PowerPoint presentation. If you're going to do a presentation, don't bring it up until the end, and it wants to be very brief. Just maybe the structure of your package, or something like that. Maybe showing like a wall of video testimonials, and if you are going to come off the call without a decision, set up another meeting. If they're not willing to set up another meeting, they were wasting your time. So yeah, that is how I sell. I've found that information. I hope you found the video informative. We've been going about 55 minutes. I'm not going to edit this video. I'm just going to post it as it is. But that's me, Michael Greenwood, over and out. Drop me a comment. Send me a message on some of my channels if you want to get in touch and for me to do marketing for you or anything like that. And I'll see you next time.